Greetings, anglers. You know, World Whiskey Day just passed a few days ago, and it got me thinking there's a recipe I haven't done here yet that I really enjoy. It's really simple and delicious, and that's bourbon glazed salmon. When you're working with bourbon, a lot of recipes will tell you to go with, say, a Jim Beam or maybe a wild turkey. Those are fine. They'll cook up really nice. I tend to go a little bit more mid-range when I do that. I want a finer tasting bourbon, but obviously not too high. Something that can go in the recipe, but also can go in a cocktail. Maker's Mark, for example, is a really good, reasonably priced cooking bourbon that also you can use for some drinking purposes. Obviously, you don't want to go and waste money, say like pouring your Basil Hayden's into a saute pan, or making a sauce out of your Rowan's Creek. You don't want to take your Woodruff Reserve and then go ahead and put that into a pot. Nah, you'd rather put that in a glass. And you don't want to take your Iron Root Harbinger and use that for a dish. No, that's definitely a sipping bourbon. And don't put your Angel's Envy, say, into a recipe, and you don't want to use your Stranahan's for. Maybe I'm revealing a little bit too much about myself. Skipping ahead, what I tend to use when I'm cooking is Bullet. Costco has these convenient sized bottles for a fairly reasonable price. A bottle like this will last you, well, days. And it's a really nice cooking bourbon. It's a great flavor, but also if you're making a cocktail, say like my beloved bourbon sours, really, really good. It's not something I tend to drink straight all that much, but it's good for mixing, good for cooking, and it's a nice mid-range price bourbon, so go with that. Anyway, let me show you. I'm going to move the camera around. I'm going to show you this dish. It's real simple and easy and really, really delicious. Check it out. All right, so the bourbon glazed salmon. I'm starting off with a medium-high heat here. I'm melting a little bit of butter in a pan. I like doing a combination of butter and oil. I like working with canola oil. It's got a high smoke point, and it's got basically no flavor. So the butter kind of provides the flavor, adds a little bit of richness, and the oil expands that out again. So I'm getting to heat up here. I've got my salmon. I'm just going to pat that dry a little bit like I always do. And then, liberally, give it a little salt and a little bit of fresh ground pepper. I'm just going to put them in the pan. Got a nice little sizzle going on there. All right, with this. All right, so that's starting. All this down. I'm going to season the other side of the salmon. All right, away. What I need to do here is get some color on the salmon, kind of sear it a bit. It's part of the flavor. The butter's just browning a little bit. I'm going to flip these over real fast. You see, they're just lightly colored right now. I'll let you get a good nice sear on the skin side. Well, the skin, because there's a little bit of fat there, and it's good to get some color on that. All right, so flipped over, and then what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to reduce the heat. I'm going to pop them onto this plate real fast. I am going to add a little bit of brown sugar. And so I'm putting about maybe a half a cup in there. And then I'm going to add my bourbon. I've got it in a decanter because I'm classy that way. Lift that up off the heat just so I can get that blended in before too much evaporates. The thing you have to remember about alcohol is it evaporates faster than other liquids. Alright, I'm just going to move that around a little bit. Get that get some dissolve. Beautiful. Now if you're working with a gas stove, you have a flame here, you have to keep that down because that flame might ignite the bourbon. You don't really have to do the thing where you intentionally light and flame it off. I could do that. You don't get a whole lot of benefit out of that. I wouldn't recommend it. All right, and I've got just a lemon here. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice into this as well. Kind of balance against the sweetness of this. I may get a little seed in there, but I'm not worried about that. All right. And then, oh, it smells so good already. I've already got some of the flavor of the salmon in there. I'm going to return them just so. I'm going to let the salmon finish up. Just in there, top part down first. All right, now, remember from the gardening video, I planted some lemon verbena. I just got a little bit of that. I'm going to chop some of that up real quick. I wish you guys could smell this in the video, because lemon verbena has a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. I'll hold off just a touch before I do this. I'm going to adjust my heat so it's a little bit higher. So I want to cook down that bourbon. I want to cook down that brown sugar so that around the time the salmon is done, you have a nice syrupy glaze that will stick to it really, really well. And sometimes a little piece might break off. That's all right. That gives me a chance to test it. Perfect. Finish this off this way. It doesn't take too long. And I'm adjusting my heat. The liquid, as you can see, it's going away. It's starting to thicken, it's starting to get foamy. That means it's thickening up, which is good. All right, so just as the salmon is done, I can see, you see here, let me turn this around. See, it's starting to fracture a little bit. That means the salmon's cooking through. Beautiful. I'm going to get rid of the plate I had the raw salmon on, and I'm going to switch over to a clean plate I can serve on and glaze with. So, getting a little bit more delicate. I might use a spatula here to move these carefully. Beautiful. Now, all right. I'm going to take another small piece of butter. I'm just going to throw it right in there, kill the heat, and then while the residual heat is taking over, pardon the noise, we'll stir that piece of butter right into it. And look at this. Brown sugar, the lemon, the butter make a wonderful glaze. Now I'm going to grab that lemon verbena I just chopped up, throw that in there. Check this. I'm going to quick check for seasoning. Maybe a touch more salt. Look at that. Oh, so good. All right. And all you do here is just pour that glaze over the salmon. And let me just wipe that off real quick. Presentation-wise, I broke that a little bit, so I'm rushing to get the video done. But look at the glaze on that. Real simple. I just had a couple ingredients. It's just bourbon, butter, brown sugar, a little bit of lemon, salt and pepper, and the salmon. And then I put the chopped up lemon verbena. It's great. Remember I said in the video before that my school of thought is any herb that has lemon in the title is good. This is great, guys. And guys, always remember, a little bit of bourbon for the dish, a little bit for the chef. Skål, my friends.